Hello, good evening, and welcome back to another episode of our The Wasted Hour podcast. This is Martin, and for this episode, I met with electronic DJ and producer Roza Terenzi. On a lovely afternoon, we met in Melbourne to talk about her dad showing her how to use Logic and record something, the scene in Melbourne, her favorite release on Deckmantle, how to discover new music, and touring around the world in 5 months. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoy. So, officially take 2. This definitely looks better.
Okay, cool.
So after doing the error and going into the interview and re-record your audio.
Yeah.
Thanks again, Katie, for making it down here to South Melbourne. So you already know the first question, but since we talked about it from the way to the cafe over here, that you grew up in Perth, I wanted to know how you came in contact with electronic music in Perth.
Sure. So I guess, kind of music and live music has always been a really big thing in Perth. And especially with the band scene, and that's always kind of been a big thing. But especially when I was maybe, 17, 18, electronic music was kind of definitely sweeping everyone's, sweeping the clubs and stuff a lot. And so when I was going out, I got really into a lot of kind of, more experimental and beats kind of style before more dancey music, but it's all kind of, linked in, and there's a big crossover with that. So
do you remember any tracks from that time? That were the first track that got you?
A lot of I was going to a lot of kind of brain feeder shows and stuff like that, and warp artists and that kind of thing. And I think I was also, that's when I'd started studying at university, and my the course there was an experimental electronic course. So it kind of, I was learning about John Cage and kind of early electronic artists, and then they were kind of comparing that to Venetian snares and Aphex Twin and stuff like that. So that was kind of my, I was kind of absorbing all of this kind of electronic stuff, and I just was becoming really obsessed with that, basically. And so
you had a more theoretical input to not just going out and discovering it, but also due to university.
Yeah, I think it was the combination of that both of those at the same time. So I'd be learning and studying about it, but then also going out and kind of dancing and being yes, and having this combo like that. I guess before that I'd been mainly kind of doing playing jazz guitar and more kind of band oriented stuff. And then after that I kind of was just totally brainwashed by electronic music for a while after that.
Totally. Do you remember the first rave or techno party you went to, where it kind of clicked and you had the whole experience?
Well, there was definitely a few in Perth. A club called the Bakery that had shut down now, but I remember there was I think when I just turned 18 or something, I think Martin was playing at the Bakery on New Year's Eve or something, and I think that was definitely I was whoa, this is so sick.
He's amazing.
Yeah, totally. He is. So I think that was probably then, and then I think 6 months later I went to Europe with a bunch of friends, and I think I was kind of really exposed to just a bigger range of clubs and kind of festivals and events and stuff like that. So yeah. Have
you seen playing him again?
He actually was playing here on Saturday. He was playing at the university for the Boiler Room event that they had on. So yeah, I actually have a few days ago.
Yeah. He was my first closing I saw at Panorama Bar.
Cool, yeah.
And one of the days where I just wanted to drop by and go, but then he started playing, and 6 hours later I was I'm still here.
Yeah.
So he's definitely an artist I feel attached to.
Sure, yeah.
Definitely follow. So, but you came in contact when I was setting up my podcast equipment here. You said that you came in contact with that way earlier due to your dad, because I read that he was a musician and he kind of introduced you to stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So growing up, he he had a full-time job, but he's always been a musician and really interested in recording and mixing and mastering and stuff like that as well. So when I was little, he had a studio at home, so I'd always be kind of wandering in there and picking up things and kind of curious about that. So yeah, it was cool. He kind of showed me how to use like Logic and, record something on there myself. So yeah, I think he was into electronic music then, but I don't think I was. But I was into the kind of using the equipment and like learning how to use the software and stuff like that. So yeah, that was kind of, I'm really grateful that I had that. So when I started making electronic music, I already had some kind of, familiarity with, equipment and how to use stuff.
What kind of music was he playing?
So he's a drummer, and he drums in like quite a few different styles and projects, like reggae and like rock and all different stuff. But he has like a project that he started, I think, maybe early 2000s or just before that, and it's like kind of dubby electronic stuff, and he'd get his friends to come and play like saxophone or flute and stuff. It's kind of like Cafe Del Mare style, kind of like, nice. That's what it reminds me of, or like that's what I like. Growing up, that was kind of like, I guess he was working on that a lot, so it's just subconsciously kind of in my head a lot from that, I think.
Cool. Do you show him your stuff that you're doing too now?
I do. I used to get him to help me like do like a master of something if I wanted to like test it and play it and stuff. And like he listens to all my music, and like so does my mum as well. And it's cool because him having the knowledge of that, he can sometimes like, I don't know, we can actually have a conversation about it, and it's not just him going like, yeah, you're doing great. Like he's actually like, oh, cool, I think the snare's loud on this or something. And I'm like, okay, yeah.
So you used to like the technical advice too. Oh, that's great. That's cool that you can bond over this.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's cool.
So you said that then you relocated from Perth to Melbourne. Did you finish your studies in Perth or?
Yeah. I finished it was like a 3-year course, and then I was still there for a couple of years after that, doing quite a lot of music stuff. And then I moved here, I guess, when was it? The start of 2017. So like just over 2.5 years that I've been living here now. So cool. Yeah.
And how did she establish your contacts here? Did she knew anyone before, or?
I guess I'd already come over here a couple of times to play before that. And I had a booking agent, Sam, who he's still my booking agent now, and he had started doing bookings for me before I moved, but he would let me do my own stuff in Perth, but then kind of, organise shows for me here. So that was definitely really helpful, kind of already having someone who was, helping me with shows and stuff like that. And then I guess, definitely had met quite a few people in like Sydney and Melbourne and like also Tasmania and stuff, who I'd come here to play, and we met, and other DJs and musicians. So it was like not super stressful, I guess, coming here. Like it was really nice kind of knowing I could come and already have some kind of some friends and people who I like their music and stuff like that.
Did you have like a plan B, or was your intention from the beginning to make a living with music, or did you?
No, I mean, it's kind of strange. I didn't. It was never really my intention to make a living. Like, obviously, I would love to. That was kind of like, oh, it'd be great to do that. But I also know that like, that's kind of hard. And I've had friends in the past who have kind of quit their jobs to do music, but then get a little bit like resentful because they're having to play gigs that they don't want for money and stuff like that. So I didn't want to be in that position of,
you wanted to be more independent with the stuff that you're
just
doing.
Like not feeling that kind of pressure of things about it, but
produce the next house singer.
Totally. And so like so I came here, but I definitely did want to focus more on music, so that was kind of my aim of being here, and just like the accessibility of being able to tour around Australia and to New Zealand and stuff. And it's not it's a lot more possible here from Perth, because Perth, it just adds an extra, I don't know, $500 every time you're flying, and it's an extra 4 hours or something, so it just becomes pretty hard. But I pretty much worked the same job up until the end of last year from when I moved here, and it was just like the most boring.
What did you do?
It was just like an admin style kind of like I would book appointments for like big delivery trucks to drop off like produce to like supermarkets basically.
Okay.
So it was just like completely removed from any interests I have in anything. But it was a really flexible job, and I could just go in and listen to music at 6:30 in the morning and do my emailing and get my work done and be out of there and then kind of not be stressed for the rest of the day. So yeah, it was like not too bad.
I think it's good because like if you have like a job that you can totally like switch, like zone out and like do other stuff, and otherwise just sit in front of your computer for like 20 hours a day and like stuck with one idea. And I see that like people have a better time being creative when they have just like more limited
time during
the day.
I think that was I would kind of finish work, and previously when I'd been working like I don't know, cafes, like making coffee or something, and I'd find that it would be quite a lot more stressful because the days are really kind of like hectic. So I'd get home and be like quite exhausted, whereas with this job, I'd get home and be like, okay, I'm excited to do something fun now, and I don't feel tired or exhausted because I've just been like doing nothing, So it was good, I think, to do that.
Also, when you moved here, around the time you changed your name, like for your productions. Why did you do that?
I guess like, I guess I had a project for like 5 years before that. And it was like when I was starting to learn how to like produce and make music. So it was really fun, but it also felt like the music I was making and the kind of shows I was playing and stuff didn't really like line up with that anymore. And I finally kind of gotten to a point where I had a clear idea of like the musical output I wanted to be releasing and making and stuff. So before that it was like a little bit more of an experiment, kind of just like learning how to do it all. It kind of just seemed like appropriate to start something new which had a bit more focus and kind of just made a bit more sense, I think.
There's also a story behind the name that you picked.
For the name. I guess like definitely during my studies, we learn a lot about some kind of earlier experimental and electronic composers, and so I was really interested in that, and I loved the fact that like a lot of them were women, and I thought that was really really cool, and so I wanted to kind of like pay a bit of tribute to that somehow in my name. And I came across Roza Terenzi, who's super amazing astrophysicist and composer, and
which is an amazing combination.
Totally. It is. I just thought she was amazing, and was looking up a lot of her stuff, and I also just love like the sound of her name as well. So that's kind of where that comes from, I guess.
It's strange because I didn't knew about this. I read it because of your name, and I didn't knew that like one of the first electronic music pioneers were a lot of women too. Because I feel like perhaps it's just like my observation, but in the past 5 years there are more and more female DJs and electronic producers emerging. But it's great to think that from the beginning it was always there, of course.
Totally.
It was not just like
I think that's what maybe a lot of people who haven't done their research themselves are just like, oh, it's kind of coming out of nowhere. But it's like, no, it's actually always been quite a like, women have always been really interested in like electronic music and stuff, and it's cool that that's kind of getting a bit more like, I don't know, light in the world as well now, I think.
Totally. I think at this point, like there's still a way to go, but it feels more natural, like at this
definitely.
point, to see like a female DJ in the booth playing.
For sure.
Whereas like when I started going out for like 10 years ago, it was like more special at the time. But nowadays it's not like a thing. It's like totally normal.
For sure.
Did also your sound change a lot when you switched to Roza Terenzi?
I guess so. Like there are definitely like, I would say, still elements and parts to how I make music that, have stayed the same, but definitely like, I think it's more kind of dance floor orientated, like the music I'm making now, as opposed to just like generally electronic music. And that probably just comes in line with what I, kind of like to listen to, and that kind of just comes through, I think, more. But yeah, it definitely like has changed over, you know, the last like 7 or 8 years, and I'd hope it would, I guess. Like otherwise I might be a bit bored.
Change, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I think like just a bit more focused, but definitely changed, but it still has some kind of, I don't know, I can see some kind of similarities, I think, in it.
Do you have like a way of writing or producing, like a certain formula that you stick to, or?
No, I mean, I wouldn't say I have like a plan or an action in mind or something.
No,
but
total preset.
No, but I've noticed patterns in like the way that I'll work, and I just kind of have to roll with them, I think, because I think the more natural it is for me, the better chance I have at making something that, I don't know, works or I like. But I'd say generally I start like in my studio just kind of jamming out on a bit of equipment and then get something together that I like the groove of or sound of, and then record a bunch of stuff and then start playing around with like samples and kind of, I don't know, yeah, processing and different stuff. So yeah, usually it starts with kind of jamming and getting something, and then I kind of go into a more editing mode after that, I think.
Cool. Also, when you moved to Melbourne, you became a resident at the Lounge Club,
yeah.
I think. Are you still a resident there, or?
No, it's actually shut down, the club.
Okay.
Yeah, well, like a new club's opened in the same spot now.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I played there, I think for a year or something. I was resident there, which was great because, yeah, just like having the chance to, I don't know, play like regularly in a spot and play at different time slots, so just get different experience with, you know, different crowds and how to kind of react to that. But then I think after about a year or something, I think I was kind of playing too much. Couldn't really like, I don't know, keep doing the residency basically, because I'd like be away and like stuff like that. But it was, yeah, a really cool experience for sure.
Nice. How's the scene in general like in Melbourne, like the electronic dance scene?
I think it's kind of a hard question. It's like
Can't generalize it because there's so many different.
It just seems to be, I don't know, like changing a lot maybe at the moment. It's just there's so many talented people in terms of DJs and producers and everything, but I feel like it's not very like cohesive at the moment, or there's venues shutting down like constantly. So it's hard for everyone kind of to have a hub or kind of something central to bring everyone together. So yeah, I think at the moment it's a little bit lost maybe, but there's so many like amazing people here doing really great stuff. So it's kind of, I know that it will kind of pick back up again. And I think especially now summer's kind of coming around, people seem to have way more energy and like, you know, kind of just hope behind all of their kind of endeavors and stuff. So yeah, like it's a really unique place and it's really cool. It's just a kind of constant battle with venues and like laws and,
like you said before, that the Lounge Club shut down.
Yeah, like that was like, I don't know, the third club or something that was shut down kind of recently, which has like late licensing and the ability to have like longer parties and stuff like that. So I guess it's a problem that everyone seems to be facing basically in the world right now, from what I gather from talking to people. So yeah, hopefully it kind of forces everyone to I don't know, come up with something new and like kind of get around these things with events and stuff like that.
I think it's always an up and down. I don't remember a time where everybody said, oh wow, it's so great at the moment.
Yeah.
Like with nightlife in general and with the scene, it's always an up and down. And like what I saw now, for example, in Munich, like 5 years ago, there were a lot of new clubs opening at the same time. There's so many good stuff going on, and then like some shut down already. And I think it's always like kind of a opportunity to channel the energy during that time to create something new or make way for new talents as well.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So definitely looking forward to that seeing happening in Melbourne. But
yeah, me too. Hopefully.
Does it differ much from Sydney, for example, here in Melbourne?
Yeah, I'd say like Sydney has been hard because, yeah, the last, I don't know how many years now, maybe like 6 years or something, there's been really like strict lockout laws in the city, which I think have finally just been overturned or something. So it's kind of crazy because it just ruined like a lot of like business and a lot of venues that had been open for a long time, and it kind of drove everyone further out of the city to have to put on events, and yeah, just like a real lack of venues and stuff like that. But the kind of weird thing in all of that was that, from what I gathered, like the scene kind of got like quite a bit stronger and like maybe smaller but stronger, and like brought everyone together a little bit more, I think, and people are working together like quite well to make like cool things happen. And yeah, I guess every time I've played there over the last couple of years, mainly in like warehouses or kind of different spaces or whatever, like the parties have all been really good. And I think that, like, yeah, I feel really bad for, you know, the promoters there who are struggling with, because it's expensive to do parties in warehouses and stuff like that. But it seems like they, you know, have been putting in the effort, and you can kind of tell that the scene there seems to be really cool. So yeah, it's kind of a weird thing where maybe I feel like here people have been, maybe there are too many clubs that are options, but not really that many that people love going to. But so then people just, you know, keep putting on the parties there because it's a lot easier than doing it, you know, a warehouse or something like that. So maybe people have been a little bit like complacent here, just kind of, I don't know, that kind of thing. But yeah, like Sydney, in terms of there's just as many like amazing DJs and producers and stuff there. So it's pretty similar in terms of like, I feel like people are pretty connected in that sense. And a lot of people here will play in Sydney and vice versa. So it's like quite a nice kind of, I think, connection like that.
That's great to hear, because I always thought from the outside there was kind of a rivalry thing going on between Sydney and Melbourne.
I mean, like, there is like a, you know, slight natural one, which I think it's just that, you know, people love saying that they live here and not there, and same with people that, you know, live there. But I think most people that go there and play, and, you know, same otherwise, like, actually have a great time and love it. And like I have a lot of friends there, and I know that like it's the same with most people. So I think it's just a natural kind of rivalry, but it's actually like nice. I think
it's great that like music overcomes these barriers like at some point, because like it's in Germany like the same thing, like you stick to a city, but like, come on, you can't compare one city to another.
Yeah, totally.
Like,
yeah.
And it's great that you have like that kind of diversity.
Yeah.
In like different cities, otherwise it would all be or look or the same.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think that's it's like for me, like I would never live in Sydney, but I love going there and like visiting there and stuff. So there are things there that you can't get here, and, you know, the same. So yeah, it's cool. Good.
So since your first production as Roza Terenzi, the OG EP, if I'm right, a lot of stuff has happened to you. You put out a lot of great records, obviously.
Thank you.
And you started touring too, like a lot, like because you were a resident first, and then I think, was it this year or last year, you did like an extensive touring for Europe too.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Yeah, last year I was away for like 3 months, and I went to like Canada for a bit, and then I was in Europe for a couple of months, and that was kind of, I guess my first like overseas touring, I guess. Yeah, because I'd been maybe in Europe before, but just kind of played like I was like on holiday and would play at like a friend's party or something like that. So this was like the first kind of proper tour. And yeah, so Jo at KLS, she was working with my booking agent Sam, and so she kind of said, I'll like help out with the tour a little bit and see how it goes. And like, yeah, it was really good, like definitely exceeded like all my expectations, kind of like the shows and stuff like that. So yeah, it was a really cool experience. And then I guess this year it was just kind of doing that again, but like on a bigger scale. Like I went to India first to play, and then
how was that?
Yeah, amazing, so cool. Like I had no idea what to expect at all. I'd never been to India and didn't really know much about like the scene there or anything really. And yeah, I was just blown away. Like it was just culturally so different to here, and so diverse, and the people there are amazing. And I think they were kind of explaining to me that the history of the scene there is more rooted in kind of like drum and bass music and stuff like that. And in the last couple of years, it's really started to expand to like a bunch of different things. So the crowds and kind of energy there is quite young, and like not in age, but in kind of just everyone was really excited and really kind of passionate about what's going on. And you could really tell that in like, in the crowds when playing. So I loved it, and the food was amazing, and just the whole experience was really cool. So
Great to hear.
Yeah, really cool. And it was also good because I guess it's so far going from here to Europe, and that was really nice to have something in between, like on my way to go there and play, just to kind of break up the travel and the time difference and jet lag and everything like that. So yeah, it was cool for sure.
How do you prevent exhaustion on tour? Like when you travel to Europe and do this thing for like 3 months, I just can imagine that you go like from club to club and like venue to venue. It can be like very exhausting. How do you prevent
definitely.
that?
Like this, I guess this year was the first time where it had, kind of over a month of maybe like 3 shows per week or something like that, which I'd never really like done that before. And the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 years I've been playing almost every weekend, but it's always in Australia. So it's like you don't have to travel as well, which, that makes a huge difference for me.
That's what I've heard too. Like that's the exhausting part.
Pretty much, yeah. Like, so yeah, it was a good like test this year to see like what works for me and like what I need to do to make sure I'm kind of, like feeling good for the shows and stuff. And I think, I mean, it's just kind of classic stuff, but just trying to get as much sleep when you can and like eating well and like just, it's so hard because you go to airports and the food's so bad and like, it's easy to just kind of be like lazy with that, but it does make a huge difference. And like, like not drinking too much and just stuff like that. Because like if I was to be hungover on the second night for a show, I'm just like, too tired and useless. And then you have to go to the club and like you're supposed to be like setting the tone of the night and making a party, and you're just like, like trying to fall asleep. So I think that was really good, just kind of, learning all of that and like, I don't know, just getting good at traveling, that kind of stuff. Trying to sleep like if you can on like planes or trains and stuff like that. And I think definitely during the week when I had downtime, just like trying to make the most of that and do just normal stuff like cook dinner with friends or go for a swim and like spend time outdoors and stuff like that. I think that definitely helped me a lot.
Because you said before that you turned your hobby into a profession, like when you were making music, and you said that you found your peace now, like with cooking.
I know, it's so funny because I don't know, a few years ago I had no interest in it at all, and I think because I used to work in like hospitality a lot, just eat at work and stuff like that and be too lazy to do anything. But because I guess the end of last year was when I quit my boring job, and because I was kind of going to be touring too much, so I couldn't keep saying, hey, can I have another few months off? It's just getting a bit like crazy, so did that. But so now it's like full-time like music, and obviously I love, it's my total passion, but I feel like it's really good to have some other things to be interested in, because otherwise it's just like oversaturation so much. So been getting into cooking and like
did you change your diet too or something like that?
Like, no, not really. No, I just like actually put like a small amount of effort into like, being, because I was always like I love food and like eating nice meals, and was always interested in it, but just not me like being involved in it. So definitely now that's changed a bit. And
because the food culture here in Australia is amazing.
It is,
like especially here in Melbourne. Like I was so looking forward to like for the coffee and like breakfast and everything.
Yeah, totally.
And because like the first time when I came here 2 years ago, I didn't know about that. Like it wasn't like a place connected in my head with like good food. I was like more like, oh yeah, it's like perhaps like burgers or everything. But then when I came here, it was the most amazing coffee I had in my first morning, and then I went for breakfast and I was eating stuff I've never seen and was like so delicious. I was like, wow, what did I miss out on? And, also like a lot of good restaurants here making like a very, very good job.
It's definitely a huge thing like here, and I think like the produce and stuff in Australia is really good, just like, fruit and vegetables and stuff. The quality is so nice, and I always like take that for granted a little bit. And then I go overseas sometimes and I'm just like, oh my God, like I would just do anything to just get a good piece of fruit or something like, but it's definitely like we're super spoiled in Melbourne here. Like pretty much any food you want to get, there's like someone doing like an amazing job of it. So it is really good here basically.
Cool. So what was your favorite anecdote from your touring in Europe? Can you pick one? Like
my favorite anecdote?
Yeah, like what happened during like touring, or like what you think about now, and you'd be like, wow, that was amazing or funny?
I guess there was definitely a couple of shows and things that stood out that were just kind of, I don't know, really special to me. They were really good. Like, I got to go to Robert Johnson for the first time and play there, and I'd heard so much good stuff about it there, so I didn't want to get my hopes up too high. But I was like, oh, I totally get it, why it's so amazing. Like, it was just, yeah, so good.
It's one of the most original clubs too, I think, in Germany.
Yeah.
They've done an amazing job for years now.
Yeah, I mean, it's so, like, it's always amazing when a place can run for so long and it still be so good. Like, I think that's really cool.
Also, I think because they didn't sell out at a certain point.
Yeah.
Because I think, like, there's always, like, the rule of, like, after 5 years, when you shuts down or is selling out.
Yeah,
like, when they get, like, the fame and they book, like, a whole another DJs or, like, another crowd is coming in. So it's really great to see, like, those establishments like Robert Johnson.
Totally, yeah. I mean, there was like so many great like moments in shows. Like, definitely playing at Grease Muller was like super fun. I used to go there and like party and dance a lot, and so I was like just like loved being able to play there, and had like a bunch of friends there, which was super nice. And definitely like going to America was amazing. I had so much trouble with my visa, like not trouble, but just it was a very long, expensive process. So I was at the embassy, like the US embassy in Berlin. I remember 4 days in a row, like getting a train there every morning at 8 a.m. with like a button-up shirt, trying to look all like professional, and like waiting every day and to try and get an interview and stuff. And it was like the most stressful week of my life. And I remember I had to leave Europe. And then like the last day I was there to get my passport, and I thought that I wasn't going to get it in time, and I looked in it and then it was in there, and the woman's like, oh, can you check it? And I was like, is this my visa? And she was like, yeah. And I just like literally was like skipped out of the embassy, was like smiling, and they were all like, goodbye, Miss Campbell. Like, and I was like, yeah, see ya. Like, and then but it was great because like the shows in America were really, really way better than I had hoped that they would be. Like the Honcho Camp Out, I don't know if you know the Hot Mess guys that do the party. Like, it was so cool. Just I knew it was going to be great, but just the whole festival was really amazing. Just like so many great people playing, such a great community spirit of the people running it and people involved, and it was really, really cool. And I think Pittsburgh in general, like I went back and played the last show of my whole 5-month trip, did a boat party there. And
so it was 5 months that you were
it was 5 months. It's pretty intense. But like the vibe in Pittsburgh is amazing. Same with Denver as well. Just places that I don't know, I guess just didn't expect to be so cool. But the parties are great. Like, they've really got the true kind of underground in a sense there, where it's like just people all working together to create something special with the parties, and you can really feel that, like, for sure.
Cool. Was it also during your touring time that you released your record on Deck Mantle?
I think that was just before, so I think that came out in April, and then I left in May, basically. So just before that, I guess.
Cool. Did you feel like any pressure when they approached you to release something, or was it?
I mean, I guess so. I was just kind of like surprised that they wanted to hear music from me. I was like, cool, okay, and just sending them stuff. And I'm like, working with Bert, he's like super, super lovely, and made the whole kind of process really like relaxed. So I wasn't like, feeling too anxious or anything about that, because he just was, really chill. So that was good.
Oh, that's great to hear.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite release on Deck Mantle that comes to your head?
Like in their catalogue?
Yeah.
Or, I really like, it's Stila Omsor, so they've just released a record with. I love her music so much, and like I remember I got one of her records when I was like 17 or something, and just like really into it, and has seen her play live before, and she's amazing. So they just put out like an EP of hers, I think, so, and that's really cool. So probably that, I'd say.
Nice.
Yeah.
Because like on the flight over here, I was listening to Basic Soul Unit's album. He released it, I think, like 4 years ago already. And it's still, I have forgotten about it in the last 2 years. Now I'm putting it back on, and it's like after 4 years you can tell like it's quite timeless, I think.
Cool.
The sound that you created.
I think it's nice to revisit stuff from 4 or 5 years ago that you really loved, and then you kind of just go, okay, forget about that for a bit and then come back to it in a few years. And
It's so hard to keep up with like all the new releases.
Yeah, totally. I give up half the time. It's just like.
But how do you do it? How do you like find new stuff when you're playing DJing? Like, how do you?
Yeah, I guess.
Do you go to a record store or do you?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I feel like that's always probably the best thing for me. Like here, it's hard. There are definitely really good record stores, but it's just so expensive here. You know, the price that they have to pay to ship records in is so much, so then the price of everything becomes really high. And then even on Discogs, it's like, you know, there's
the shipping costs.
It's so crazy. It's just like, it makes it really turns me off wanting to engage with records, which is unfortunate because, you know, obviously I would love to, but I think definitely still, like when I'm on tour, I try and go to record stores like in different places because especially secondhand stuff, like that's where I'll find, you know, new labels and then go on Discogs and look through everything and go like, oh, there's all this amazing stuff that I don't know about. And I feel like that's my favorite way of kind of finding new music. The other is probably just from friends. Like I often will send music I'm working on to friends, and same, I get a lot of music from friends from different places around the world, and to be honest, that's usually probably like the best stuff that I hear. So then I just get really excited and I'm like, okay, you have to send me this version when you're done so I can play it, and you know,
it's
stuff
a very
like
organic way. I think,
pretty
like
much.
From
and
your circle of friends.
It's exciting, I think, as well. Kind of just you get to test out new things that you know that like everyone there hasn't heard like a million times and stuff like that.
Cool. So you already said before that you're gonna start touring again. And besides that, what's up next for you?
Yeah, so right now I'm just trying to finish off a bunch of music and working in my studio every day, which is really nice because when I was away I didn't really get to make much music, so I was kind of just like desperate to do some of that. Preparing for a live show coming up in New Zealand in just over a month, and then I'll be in like in Australia until the start of January, and then I'm going to be touring in Asia for the first time for nearly a month. So I'm really excited for that because like most of the places I'm going I've never been before, so I think it'll be really interesting to see what's going on basically there. And then I'll come back here, and then I'll be going back to Europe in March, I think.
Oh,
so,
cool.
Yeah.
Definitely have to catch up then.
Yeah, for sure.
When you're there.
Yeah.
There's always my already famous closing question for the interviews.
Yeah.
Before that, I want to say thank you as
thank
well for taking the time again. I always ask, like, imagine if you're at the airport and you could choose to fly anywhere that you want to. Where would you go to and why?
I think right now I would go to Tbilisi probably because I haven't been there, and I just have had so many people that have been there recently who are just raving about it. They just love it so much, like the food and wine and like music culture there and like nature and everything. Like it just seems to tick every box right now of things that I'm like interested in. So I think probably there. Yeah,
definitely. It seems to be like a great country.
Yeah.
So I can definitely back up that choice.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Cool.
So Rosa, thank you so much for making it here. That was another episode of our podcast, and hope wish you all the best for your future.
Cool. Thanks so much. Thanks for having me.
Stil.